You know that very specific, quiet ache that settles in your chest when you are doing something you never actually wanted to do, but enthusiastically offered to do anyway. It is a heavy, hollow feeling. It usually hits you in the middle of the favor. You are driving somewhere out of your way, or you are staying late at a job when everyone else has gone home, or you are listening to someone vent for the third hour in a row. And as you sit there, pouring your energy into a cup that is not yours, a voice in your head quietly asks, "Why am I like this? Why do I keep doing this to myself?" You smile, you nod, you say it is no problem at all, but inside you are utterly depleted. You are running on fumes, hoping that if you just give enough, eventually someone will turn around and offer you the same grace. But they rarely do. I want to tell you about a Friday night not too long ago. A friend of mine called me in a panic. They were moving out of their apartment. They had underestimated how much stuff they had. Their lease was up in the morning, and they desperately needed help. I had been looking forward to this Friday all week. I was burnt out. My own apartment was a mess, and I just wanted to sleep. But the moment I heard the stress in their voice, my own needs simply evaporated. I said what I always said. Of course, I will be right there. Do not worry about a thing. I drove over and spent the entire night packing boxes. I carried heavy, awkward furniture down 3 flights of stairs in the dark. I breathed in years of accumulated dust. I overfunctioned, organizing their things while they took breaks. By the time I finally got back to my own place, the sun was already coming up. I fell into bed, my shoulders aching, my mind entirely numb. A few hours later, I woke up, groggy and sore. I reached for my phone and opened social media. The very first thing I saw was a story posted by that same friend. They were out at a beautiful brunch spot in their new neighborhood, laughing, holding up a coffee, looking completely refreshed and alive. I lay there staring at the ceiling, and I felt a cold, bitter knot of resentment form in my stomach. I was angry at them. Yes, it felt deeply unfair. But underneath that, cutting much deeper, was a profound anger at myself. Because the uncomfortable truth was that they had not forced me to do anything. I had volunteered my own peace of mind. I had handed over my weekend. I was caught in the exact center of the nice guy trap, or the nice person trap. The endless, exhausting cycle of people-pleasing. For a long time, I thought being nice was simply my personality. I thought I was just a highly generous, accommodating person. But looking at that photo, feeling that exhaustion in my bones, I finally saw it for what it actually was. It was not a personality trait. It was a habit loop, a deeply ingrained psychological cycle of cue, craving, response, and reward that I was running on autopilot. To understand why we get stuck in this cycle, we have to look at how our brains process habits. Every habit, whether it is biting your nails or rescuing other people, follows the same sequence. First, there is a cue, which is a trigger that causes a spike in stress. Second, there is a craving, which is the desperate urge to make that stress go away. Third, there is the response, which is the action you take. And finally, the reward, the temporary relief you feel afterward. I used to have a very different kind of habit loop whenever I felt overwhelmed. For years, if I was dealing with a stressful project or a difficult email, I would suddenly stand up, walk into the kitchen, and open the refrigerator. I was not even hungry. I would just stand in the cold light, stare at the shelves, maybe grab a piece of cheese or a handful of grapes, and then close the door. The cue was the stress of my work. The craving was the need for a distraction, a need to numb the discomfort. The response was opening the fridge, and the reward was a momentary, fleeting break from my own mind. We do the exact same thing with our boundaries. Imagine your phone buzzes. It is a text from a coworker asking if you can cover their shift, or a message from a family member demanding your time. That notification is the cue. Immediately your stomach drops. Your nervous system detects a threat. You experience a craving, but it is not a craving for food. It is a craving for safety. It is the urgent need to neutralize the tension, to avoid conflict, to ensure this person is not disappointed in you. So you execute the response. You type back, "Sure, I can do that." And the moment you hit send, you get the reward. The anxiety drops. You survive the interaction. The threat of them being mad at you is gone. But the reward is a lie. It is a short-term relief purchased with long-term burnout. You avoid the immediate discomfort of saying no, but you inherit the massive, crushing discomfort of actually having to do the thing you agreed to. If you are stuck in this loop, you are probably carrying around a silent belief that your worth is tied directly to your usefulness. You learned, likely a very long time ago, that the easiest way to earn love and secure your place in a room was to be low maintenance and high utility. You became the listener, the fixer, the shock absorber for everyone else's emotional turbulence. And that is incredibly unfair to you. You are not weak for being a people pleaser. You are actually incredibly observant and adaptive. You are applying a survival strategy that kept you safe in the past, but you are using a map for a city you no longer live in. You are paying rent for space in other people's lives using your own vital energy. So how do we actually break this? How do we stop opening the emotional refrigerator? You cannot just magically command yourself to stop caring. Willpower alone does not break a trauma response. Instead, we have to dismantle the habit loop by changing the response and redefining the reward. We have to introduce friction. The next time the cue happens, the next time someone asks you for a favor, your automatic response is going to want to jump in and save them. Your only job in that exact second is to pause. You do not have to say no yet. You just have to delay the yes. You create friction. You borrow a phrase that you keep in your back pocket. "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." "I need to look at my workload before I commit." "Let me think about it." That is it. You buy yourself space. By forcing a gap between the request and your response, you give your nervous system time to realize that you are not in physical danger. You are just being asked a question. When you do respond, you have to learn the art of the short boundary combined with an alternative. This is how you say no without feeling like you are being aggressive or unkind. The mistake we make when we finally try to set boundaries is that we over-explain. We write a massive paragraph apologizing, giving 5 different reasons why we are too busy, defending our right to say no. But when you over-explain, you are not setting a boundary. You are submitting your reasons to a judge and hoping they grant you permission to rest. You do not need their permission. You only need a short, clear statement. "I cannot help you move this weekend, but I can bring you some packing boxes on Thursday evening. I do not have the capacity to take on this project right now, but I can send you my notes from the previous one. I cannot stay on the phone tonight, but I would love to catch up next week." Notice the structure. It is a firm limit followed by what you can offer. It is not a rejection of the person. It is a limitation on your current capacity. You are telling them, "I value you, but I also value myself. I am willing to help, but not at the cost of my own collapse." When you first start doing this, the habit loop is going to fight back. When you send that short, polite no, you are not going to feel the old reward of instant relief. Instead, you are going to feel a massive spike of guilt. You will feel like you have done something terribly wrong. You will want to text them back and undo it. You will obsess over whether they are angry. This is the withdrawal phase of the people-pleasing habit. It is deeply uncomfortable, but that discomfort is exactly what you must learn to tolerate. You have to sit with the guilt of saying no, rather than fleeing into the resentment of saying yes. The first time I truly practiced this was a few weeks after that disastrous moving night. Another request came in from someone else, a casual demand for my weekend time. I sat on my couch, staring at my phone. My heart was racing. I drafted a long, apologetic excuse, and then I deleted it. I typed out a short, kind, firm no. I offered a small alternative for another day, and my hand was genuinely shaking when I hit send. I put the phone face down on the table and waited for the relationship to explode. I waited to be abandoned. An hour later, my phone buzzed. I braced myself. The message just said, "No worries, thanks anyway, catch you later." I just sat there in the quiet of my living room. The sky did not fall. I was not hated. The world kept spinning. And for the first time in a very long time, my weekends still belonged entirely to me. I had successfully replaced the reward. The reward was no longer the relief of avoiding conflict. The reward was the quiet, clean space of an empty Saturday morning. The reward was my own dignity. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to be tired. You do not have to earn your place in your friendships by being an unpaid assistant or a full-time therapist. The people who truly belong in your life will not be offended by your boundaries. They will be relieved that you are finally taking care of yourself. The people who get angry at your boundaries are simply the ones who were benefiting from you having none. It is a frightening thing to stop being the perfectly accommodating version of yourself. It means letting go of the illusion that you can control how everyone feels about you. But what you get in return is something infinitely more valuable. You get your life back. You get your energy back. You get to wake up in the morning and know that your time is your own. You step out of the trap and you finally, quietly, come home to yourself.